So, a messy situation. I, 27 male, have been dating my girlfriend Ashton, 26, for 2 years, and we live in the house that I own. Ashton's finishing up her master's program, so I don't charge her rent. Instead, I pay for all the housing expenses, and in return she chips in on groceries, utilities, and some of the household chores. But I pay the lion's share of all household expenses. I'm cool with this situation till she graduates, and we've always communicated well until now. Ashton has a hot mess of a sister named Anna, 28. Anna has burned most of her bridges with her family. She has 2 kids with 2 different dads and has been married and divorced twice. She hops from one sketchy boyfriend to another. She's always in and out of work, always complaining about her situation instead of doing anything to solve it. I gave up on her last year when she dated this loser who didn't like kids, and she kept dating him against me and her sister's advice. Well, she moved into his place, and this Saturday we got a call that they were breaking up, and she had nowhere to go this time. She hadn't been working and didn't have the rent money, so Ashton asked me if we could take them in. I said absolutely not. Her sister was a leech. Also, I didn't want kids in my house. I work from home half the time and don't want 3 extra people in my space. I don't want to get involved with her sister at all. I've supported her plenty over the last few years, rides, babysitting, etc., and I'm done. My girlfriend didn't take this well and said she would help her sister if she could. I said, fine, let me know where you take her and I'll bring by some food, but it won't be my house. My girlfriend tried saying it was her house too. I said when she started paying the mortgage, she could decide who lived there. So her sister tried calling me individually. I told her the same reasons and told her I would bring food by when she found a place. I also gave her the number of multiple organizations that could help her. She got offended. Well, I was at work yesterday, sales, and I noticed Anna and her kids unlocking my front door with a bag on her shoulder on my Ring camera. I called my girlfriend and asked her immediately what was going on. She said Anna needed a place to go for a few hours while her ex moved out of the apartment. I asked how she got in the house as I locked it. Ashton said she made Anna a key months ago if she ever needed to get in. I was furious and told her to tell Anna to get out or I'd be calling the police. Ashton called and Anna left, not before calling me an idiot. So I decided to stay to change the locks and get a new garage access code. Ashton will have to request access through the garage, and I will give access. Ashton is upset, but I told her that this would be the way it is until her sister finds a place, because I can't trust that I won't come home and find 2 kids and a woman living in my house. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. But I think you need to reevaluate if you can trust Ashton. She way overstepped boundaries by making her sister a key without your permission. You pay for everything and are being taken advantage of. What happens when she finishes her master's degree? Will you still be useful? Sister is a leech. If she wasn't working when she lived with the boyfriend, what's going to make her work when she lives in your house? She's not your sister and you made your stance clear from the outset. The changing the locks part wouldn't be necessary if everyone else involved had proven themselves trustworthy. Everyone's the idiot here. Your girlfriend should not have made a copy of the key to your house without asking you. And honestly, if you wanted to break up over it, I wouldn't fault you. But ultimately, she is a tenant of the house and she does need to have her own copy of the key. So regardless of if she was irresponsible, she was, you can't not give her access to where she lives. And saying you'll let her in every time isn't enough because there will definitely be a time when you're away from your phone for just 10 minutes. And that's too long to deny someone access to where they live. That is controlling. If you can't trust her, you shouldn't be in a relationship. You are the idiot. Seriously? You can't let this unhappy woman spend a few hours at your house while she takes a breather from what might be the most stressful situation of her life? Moving her 2 kids in is different from spending a few hours there. Just because you gave up on her doesn't mean that her sister is required to. And if you can't empathize with what Ashton is going through right now while watching her sister and nibblings become homeless, you probably shouldn't be with her. So 2 weeks ago, my 31 female BFF Katie, 32, got married to Matt, 35 male. I was the maid of honor and was very involved in the wedding planning. I love Katie to death and took my duties as MOH very seriously. I did my best to make sure Katie had the wedding of her dreams, but the thing is, Katie thinks her wedding was ruined because of me. For her wedding day, Katie chose one of those 2-in-1 gowns that switch between being a massive tulle ball gown for the wedding and a slinky-type mermaid gown for the reception, because it has a detachable tulle skirt layer. Katie is very showy and an extra person, something that I adore about her, so she decided that during the reception she'd step out of her detachable tulle skirt and reveal the underlying mermaid gown in a dramatic fashion in front of the guests. It was very on-brand for her to decide that she was going to do something dramatic with the costume change, and I was fully in support of this idea. We tried to brainstorm reveal ideas together, and she came up with one that was very risky but as dramatic and sensational as Katie herself. She wanted me to accidentally spill wine all over her skirt and act panicked and horrified by my own clumsiness while she acted like she was very mad at me. When the commotion that caused is at its peak, she'll unsnap her tulle skirt and let it fall to reveal the inner reception dress. I was sceptical at first, but I finally agreed because this is a very Katie thing to do, and I didn't want to stifle her dramatism. The day of her wedding came and the moment of the costume change arrived. I spilled the wine on her skirt. It wasn't a lot, but it was a substantial amount. As predicted, there was a hurried commotion to help out the bride, and we did our part with the acting. People were convinced, and I'd assume Katie wouldn't drag out the acting bit for more than a few seconds, but she seemed intent on fully selling the act. I started to worry and touched the buckle on the back to tell her she should remove it now, which she did, but it was too late. A good amount of the wine had already seeped through and stained the dress. To be honest, it was a cringe moment since the reveal was a total fail, and to make things worse, the groom's friends started laughing at her, and Katie was very upset. I tried to console her the best I could and even mentioned this would be a funny story for family dinners in my maid of honour speech, and I honestly thought she'd gotten over it since she had fun that night. But 2 weeks later, Katie is still mad at me. I thought we talked it out before she left for her honeymoon, but nope, she's still mad and wants an apology. I told her this was essentially her fault, not mine, and she won't be taking responsibility for it since this was her idea and her doing that caused the wine to seep through. She got frustrated with me and said I was a horrible friend, and apparently all of Katie's family agreed. So now I'm confused if I'm the idiot or not. Technically speaking, you did what she requested, which would make you not the idiot. She told you to spill the wine. She waited too long to do the reveal and let the wine seep through. The responsibility lies on the person who planned this scenario, in this case, Katie. This is really a damned if you do, damned if you don't, because had OP refused to do it, the bride would probably still blame her and make her the bad person. She didn't think her plan through, and she sounds insufferable given the few details we have. Maybe it's time to make new friends. Not the idiot. She played a dangerous game and won a stupid prize. Katie sounds like a woman I don't have kind words for, so I won't use them. Imagine being a fully grown adult who is literally getting married, who can't take accountability for their own actions. I pity her future husband. My sister-in-law, meaning my husband's sister, is the kind of person you'd call a dog mom. She and her fiancé don't have kids yet, and I don't think they'll have kids anytime soon since they're both 25 and consider themselves young. That doesn't really matter, though. The problem is the fact that they have 2 dogs already and they just got the 3rd dog. When I found out, I got angry. I don't care what she does in her own house and how many dogs she has, but I get upset that whether she likes it or not, her actions and dogs affect my family as well. I'm a mother of 3 kids. Every Christmas and summer, my husband and I go on vacation to his family's vacation house. His sister, her fiancé and their dogs are also there. So her getting another dog means that there's also another dog every time we might come across each other at the vacation house. I don't hate dogs as many people do, but I'm not a fan either, and the fact that she didn't take into account how another dog would affect mine and my family's vacation at that vacation house every time we come across each other annoys me. I voiced my concerns to my husband, and he later spoke to his mom and dad about it. His mom and dad scolded my sister-in-law and her fiancé about how they can't keep getting pets without thinking of the rest of the family, who doesn't like spending time with dogs whenever we're vacationing together. My husband and my in-laws got in a heated fight with my sister-in-law over this, and my sister-in-law called me crying and said I should be happy because she's never stepping foot in the vacation house again. She also reminded me how the vacation house is also hers and not just my husband's and my in-laws since her name is on the house too, and how I have a lot of nerve for basically kicking her out of her property and causing a fight between her and her family. My in-laws and my husband said she'll get over it, but that I shouldn't expect her to get rid of any dogs right now, but that after the fight, they're certain she won't get another dog again because of the shame felt with that fight. Part of me feels guilty over this, but I also stood my ground, and I'm glad I put a stop to this madness for once. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. She can't get a 3rd dog, but you can get a 3rd kid. OP, her name is on the property. This is something for the others to figure out. You had no business butting in. Don't you want to spend time with the dogs? Well, guess what? It's not your vacation home. Be glad you have the chance to be able to go there in the first place. I don't like kids, but would never have dreamed of saying to you, why did you have a third kid? I don't want to put up with a baby or a toddler whilst on vacation. If it bothers you that much, communicate and ensure your vacation dates don't overlap. Yep, I dislike spending time with kids while I love pets. She could have just called sister-in-law, telling her that she really doesn't enjoy spending time with dogs and that it would be nice to organise between each other vacation time to not be there at the same time too much too long. It's fine not to like dogs, but don't judge those that do. Also, what the heck is this condescending tone for not having kids at 25 yet and probably never have any? I'm 30, my husband 33, and we don't have nor want kids. 25 is still young. You are the idiot 1,000 times. My 22 male dad left my mom 4 years ago. He said he was waiting for me to be in college to be over with her finally. This might sound bad, but my mother's horrible and she totally deserved it. She treated my dad and pretty much everyone around her like crap for most of my childhood and teenage years. Her sisters cut her off, she doesn't have any friends, and my older sister, 26, abandoned her, but silly me still have some soft spot for her because she's my mother and she's utterly alone. So I still visit her some weekends, drive her around, get her groceries and fix things around the house. I try my best to have pretty much every Saturday or Sunday totally free just for her, but sometimes I just can't. I have classes from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and I have a part-time job from 4 to 12, so sometimes I end the day totally demolished. My mom knows that there'll be some weekends that I won't be able to go visit her, and while sometimes she understands it, she's demanding that I have to be there whenever she needs me because I owe her. She would rather go a week with only takeout and limited products than walking 2 blocks down her house to a small convenience store to get them herself. These last 3 weeks have been rough. I have a huge pile of homework and projects that I have to finish before May. My job has been an absolute nightmare, and I've been having problems with my roommate. Still, I would rather live like this than move back to my mom and become the live-in maid that has to do everything for her. Last Friday, I was driving back home around 3:30. It was my day off, so I was planning on sleeping all day, but my mom called me and asked me to come home ASAP. I asked what was happening, and she said she needed something. I said that my week has been crappy and I would rather just go to my place and rest. She promised it was an emergency. So I said, okay, I'm on my way. When I arrived and asked what happened, she said that she needed some milk, bread, toilet paper, and cigarettes. I said, what? You said it was an emergency. And she said, it is an emergency. I also need some stuff for the bathroom. You know what? Let me write it down. So when she got inside the house, I just hopped back in my car and left. She called a few times, but I didn't answer, and when I got to my house, I turned my phone off and went to sleep. I woke up around midnight, turned my phone on, and had a bunch of messages from my mom and some relatives. They called me an idiot because I was already there and that it was rude of me to leave my mother like that. So, I don't know. Maybe I am the idiot. Not the idiot, but honestly, your family had the right idea. You need to get her out of your life. She's adding nothing to it. It's not your fault she has nobody. She created that for herself. As for the flying monkeys, concerned opinionated relatives, tell them to let her call them when she has an emergency. She's adding trouble, not nothing. OP, your sister did not abandon your mom. She was pushed away like everyone else. Even you're at your wit's end. She may have given birth to you, but all she causes is pain through her selfishness. She shows no consideration, only for herself. You're only 22. Maybe a few more years will harden that soft spot. I, 23 female, used to ask my mother to give me her ring since I was 6. I was in love with it, and she promised to gift it to me when I graduated high school, so she could be sure I wouldn't lose it. It has a giant sapphire rock in the middle, and diamonds on the side to describe it. I had it estimated and insured. As it turned out, it costs well over $20,000. I hardly wear it day to day and keep it for special occasions. My mother, weirdly enough, never knew how much it cost. When I had inquired about its origin as a child, she said she and my father travelled to different parts of Africa and bought it at a market for a hefty sum, but nowhere near what I got as an estimation, over 40 years ago. On the other hand, my parents divorced some 20 years ago, so she did assure me she holds no sentimental value to it. We had a falling out over the past 5 years, and she remarried to a rich dude and spends her better time traveling to exotic places or staying in their beach house, so I do know she's not financially struggling. She reached out and asked for the ring back as it appears my cousin saw some insurance documents in my house and told her the estimate, crappy cousins. I said no, but she's persistently called me a thief. Am I the idiot for refusing to give it back? Not the idiot. You've had it for years. It was a gift. You had it evaluated and insured. Make sure it's properly locked up and do not entertain any more calls from your mother until she can be nice and not bitter over whatever the falling out was about. What a loser to call you a thief over a gift she gave you years ago. Also, don't let your cousins over anymore if they're going through your private papers. Am I wrong in wondering if the mom didn't pay the cousin to look for the ring and when they didn't find it, they looked for info on where it could be? I hate to think what else your cousins got up to in your house. Do they have keys? People have been burgled for a heck of a lot less. I'd be finding a very, very safe spot or house for that ring. OP, she gave it to you as a gift. Her asking for it back only because she now thinks it's valuable is just crappy. If she was in real hardship financially, I could see you feeling guilty for not wanting to give it back. But she's not. She just found out its true worth and is being petty, probably because of your strained relationship. Enjoy the ring, but I would 100% invest in a safe.